Hello, this is Bill Ryan, and tonight, it's 2/4 at about 9:30 at night, so that's pretty cool. It was a great day out today, by the way. Went out hiking. It's in Georgia. It was like 75 degrees. So those of you in the Northeast who are still freezing, I feel for you. I did it for about 55 years, so I know what you're going through. But hey, I moved here, so there's plenty of room if you want to get away from the Northeast and the cold. Um, anyway, tonight I thought I was going to review Fantastic Four. I saw a couple of trailers that came out, and I gave us an idea of what we could look forward to on July 25th. So, without further ado, it's Fantastic Four First Steps. It's directed by Matt Shackman. And if that name doesn't mean anything to you, it's probably because it shouldn't. I saw nothing from him that I could find but TV series. And even then, I saw like one here, two there, three there, just TV series all the way through his resume. The one, if you want to call it a standout, he did 43 episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So Marvel, in all their wisdom, decided that he's a great candidate to hand over the Fantastic Four. And I tried to find a budget for it, and I have not. Um, I would imagine it's probably somewhere around 250 million. I mean, I would think it would. I don't know anything, but that would be my guess at least. Might maybe more. The Fantastic Four has been very problematic for them as far as putting it on the big screen. There was an attempt, I think it was Roger Corman actually did one in the 95 that never saw a theater. And if you really get desperate, you can, like I did, watch it on YouTube. My son and I watched it years ago, and it was truly awful. It was certainly laughable, but the rumors were that they had to do a movie about the Fantastic Four, or they would lose their rights to it. That's been disputed, but that's the story, and they're sticking with it. So that they explained they just threw something together just to hold on to the rights, and it was never meant to be a serious movie. But again, some people say that's not true. Anyway, getting on with this. So looking at the trailer that I saw. There's actually two out, and here's one I'm showing. The Baxter building looks pretty advanced, which is great. And the contrast is that Sue Storm walks in with a very ordinary, old-fashioned, traditional dress, which I thought was kind of strange. Kind of a contrast in advanced versus old school. Our buddy Pedro Pascal. Full disclosure, I dislike him as an actor. I don't I don't know why he gets cast in. It seems like every single movie, but he does. And he's in this. He's playing Reed Richards, and from the trailers, he sounds very monotone and robotic. I want to be fair here. I'm not picking on his acting. He isn't bad. Most of the time, he's extremely adequate, but nothing more. I did notice that, like I said, in the trailers at least, um, he specifically, but I just got a lot of monotone from both trailers, actually. In the first one, Vanessa Kirby had emotion, but she's a little monotone also in the second one. It'll be interesting to watch that. But anyway, so that's our buddy Pedro Pascal. Keeps on getting shoved into movies. I don't know whether it's because he's safe or he knows somebody. I just have a hard time believing anyone just loves this guy that much because I don't see it. Um, they also have Herbie the Robot. Let's talk about him for a bit. Those who know me know I go back quite a bit, and I used to watch the Fantastic Four cartoon, and I want to say it was in the late 70s. It may have spilled into the 80s. Um, but they had Herbie the Robot, and they dropped the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm. And the rumor at the time was that they were afraid if they put him in there, the children would go around setting each other on fire, trying to be the human storm because they're impressionable. That is not true. That is a false rumor. The correct reason why they didn't have Johnny Storm in the cartoon and they had Herbie the Robot was because of a rights issue. Somewhere along the line, they did not have the rights to Johnny Storm, but they wanted the cartoon, so they invented Herbie the Robot. And I've got no feelings about Herbie either way. He's found his way into the movie with Johnny Storm, and that's fine. I really don't see him as making or breaking the movie. He's probably just a cute little gadget to make it more family oriented. Kids love robots. And also we have Ben Grimm, the Thing. I gotta tell you, you can't see much, but what I did see in the kitchen there cooking with Herbie, it seems like his muscles are a part of a blow-up suit. They just didn't seem to bend naturally and normally. He's always been a problem trying to get him right in a movie. And from what I see in the trailers, they probably haven't solved it. The suit didn't look that good. I don't know. There was just something about it. The muscles didn't seem, they seemed blow up is how they seemed to me. So we'll see we'll keep an eye on that. Maybe it was just a bad scene, but that's what I just got from that. As far as the cast, Sue Storm is played by Vanessa Kirby, who seems to be a good choice. She seemed to be the best actor from the trailers anyway, for what that tells us. It's going to be kind of interesting to see her powers. I never really felt comfortable with, and I don't think she started with it originally. I think they developed over time her invisible shield. It was very odd to me that just because she can turn invisible, she should have an invisible shield. I didn't see the relationship there, but there's a lot of that in comics. For some reason, if you can turn to fire, you can fly. That's not just Johnny Storm. Those other Human Torches. It just whenever you see someone who can turn into a flame, they can fly. So I don't really see the correlation there, but it happens. But so I'm assuming from the trailer, it looked like she still has her invisible shield. And I don't understand why it has to be invisible. I mean, what's the benefit of it being invisible? I mean, if you're shooting her and the bullets are bouncing off, you kind of know a shield's there. So does it need to really be invisible? I don't know. Whatever. But I think Vanessa Kirby is a solid choice for Sue Storm. Johnny Storm, played by Joseph Quinn, excellent choice. He was the only part of season 4 of Stranger Things that I found enjoyable. Johnny Storm is a wise ass, and I think that Joseph Quinn's going to be able to be that likable, smart aleck kind of guy, very brazen, and just immature. I guess it's the word is immature. Johnny Storm's always been kind of quick to fly off the handle and be immature. And I think he's going to be very good in that role. Then we go with Ben Grimm, played by Ebon Moss-Bachrach. Hope I said that correctly. I think he's great as Richie in The Bear. I have no problem with him. I think he's a very solid choice also. The only problem I have, as I mentioned, I have my doubts about the costume, which is out of his hands, obviously. But no, I mean, I got to tell you, if you remove our buddy there, Pedro Pascal, I got to think the rest of the cast is pretty good. I think that's, but then we have to get down to my pal, as Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal. As I already mentioned, I think that's the fatal flaw in the movie. I think this is an important movie for Marvel. It is they really cannot afford, or the comic book movie industry as a whole cannot afford another flop. They really needed to make this work. And going with Mr. Safe, Pedro Pascal, I do not think was a good move. I think it's a fatal flaw. I honestly, off the top of my head, without thinking, I would say maybe Bill Skarsgård. I think he's an untapped talent. I mean, I saw him in Nosferatu, and to be honest with you, and I don't blame him for this. I didn't understand what was going on. I couldn't understand him, and I couldn't recognize him. They might have just well used, the janitor. I did not know that was Bill Skarsgård. Uh, but here, I think he would have had a chance to. He's young enough, and I think he would have had a good chance to pull this off. And he's a good actor. Um, but no, he had to go with Pedro Pascal. And again, I don't know why they hire him. Is it a DEI hire because he's Latino? I think he comes from Chile. Is it because he's got set questionable? There's a lot of questions about his sexuality, so maybe that's DEI. I don't really know, but stop casting him in major movies, please. Uh, Anyway, it looks like at least with Galactus, who's going to be the big bad, they're going to use a real character and not like a huge cloud like they did previously. And I also saw Doctor Doom. Um, I think we all not know now that that's probably going to be Robert Downey Jr., who is going to come back as Doctor Doom. Beyond that, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I think that is a major mistake. And it's got nothing to do with Robert Downey Jr. I'm a fan of his. I really liked him very early in his career when I had a movie theater. I watched all his movies. I thought he was great in Chaplin, a very underrated actor. The reason I don't, and I thought he was brilliant as Iron Man. Not that that took a lot of acting ability, but he's really one of the best actors I think in my lifetime. Um, the problem I have is that they needed to do something daring, risky, and fresh. And I don't think bringing back Robert Downey Jr. and going with Pedro Pascal is really what they need to do. They need to make a statement, and their statement seems to be, "Let's not rock the boat." Um, and I think it's too bad. I would rather have them go up in flames trying than having them playing it safe. Uh, you know, I, the Fantastic Four in of itself, by the way, just a kind of a comment here, my opinion of them, because I've been following them, like I said, since the 70s. Um, I never really understood them. Um, they didn't seem to be a very strong group. I mean, you get someone like the Avengers, the mightiest heroes, that's fine. X-Men, absolutely. They work as a team together all the time. You see them, whether it's Wolverine being Cannonball and Colossus throwing him up. They always act like a team. I get that. The Avengers, sure. Fantastic Four, they just don't seem to be like a comprehensive group. I mean, okay, let's look at them. Reed Richards, he can stretch. I guess that could come handy in a few limited situation. But I mean, you know, is that really going to strike fear in the heart of the underworld? It's like, hey, he's like Stretch Armstrong. By the way, that's a reference to those who's old as I am. 1976, there was a toy called Stretch Armstrong. If you don't know it, look it up. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, he stretches, but I really can't see a lot of people running for the hills the minute he stretches his arms out. Invisible Girl, very useful if you're a spy or breaking numerous privacy laws, or if you wanted to hide and run away. Very, very important. If you want to get away from Thanos and you can turn invisible and take off the hills, okay. Just not sure how powerful that is in fighting supervillains. Johnny Storm's up a notch, obviously. He can fly and shoot fire, so he's legitimate to qualifications to be a part of a superheroes team. But how is that going to complement an invisible woman, Stretch Armstrong? I mean, I don't know. He might as well just be by himself, I think. And Ben Grimm. Kind of an interesting Marvel character. Always thought so because everyone can use strength, and he's very, very strong. And he's ugly, which is kind of interesting. And although he has a tendency sometimes of feeling sorry for himself, that gets old a lot. I didn't like that when I was reading it. Always poor me, poor me. It's like, poor you. You can almost bench lift the planet, and you're complaining about the way you look. Which actually he's not strong enough to bench lift a planet. But getting back to that, that is another one of the issues that I have is that I never really thought he was among the really strongest ones. When I read them, they at times you'd see people list them, and generally the list was something like at the top tier, you got the Hulk, you got Thor, Hercules, Wonder Man. Thinking of probably the second tier, and it'd be maybe like Iron Man. And then below that would be like the people like She-Hulk. And then like around the fourth or fifth tier, you'd see Ben Grimm. So, I mean, he tried to fight the Hulk a few times, and it never ended up well for him. So he's not exactly, one of the strongest guys in the world, but he is strong, obviously. So last time I looked, by the way, they had Submariner as the strongest man in Marvel Universe, which I guess is okay. Wasn't crazy about it because he's not really a major character. I like, if you're going to be talking about something as prestigious as being the strongest Marvel character, I would like to think you're at least a major one. So I never really felt great about Wonder Man or Hercules either, for that matter. But anyway, moving along. The special effects are all there. No doubt about that. I mentioned that I do see a lot of monotone acting. I think that's kind of a concern. There's a director who's never really directed something of this magnitude or anything substantial, for that matter. I'm a father, and I've raised two of my own children and a handful of stepchildren. And I look for something like this. I wonder what motivation is there for me to either go out and see it or to go out and see it with them. And there's nothing about this movie that makes me think that I have to go out and see it, or geez, it's going to be a great family movie. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm only going by two trailers and the actors in it and the director. So it's quite possible that I'm mistaken. But be that as it may, that's my review. I would say I'm not going to give it a ranking because they're just trailers, but it is coming out July 25th. Not something I'm going to be holding my breath over, that's for sure. And if you agree or disagree, let me know. Email, leave a comment. If you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it or disagree with me, great. Less of a discourse. Okay, that's it for now. And thank you, and have a great rest of the week.